All right, guys. These are the first three questions from the quiz 5.3 to 5.7 review to help you prepare for the quiz tomorrow. Okay, so on the quiz, you're going to have two questions you have to solve by factoring. So we're going to do three examples in this video. We have x squared plus 9x plus 18. So my A term is x squared, my B term is 9x, and my C term is 18. My A times my C is a positive 18x squared, and my B term is 9x. So I need to find the factors of positive 18 that add together and give me a positive 9. So I could have 1 and 18, or 2 and 9, or 3 and 6. That 3 and 6 look like the factors that are going to add together to give me 9x, so I can fill in my x puzzle. Next, I'm going to fill in my area model. So I have x squared, and I have my 18. Then I have my factors, 3x and 6x. Now I need to factor this, and so I'll start with this top row, x squared and 6x. What I have in common is x. 3x and 18, I have in common a positive 3. In this first column, x squared and 3x, I have an x in common. In the second column, 6x and 18, I have in common a positive 6. So my factors are x plus 3 and x plus 6. Now remember that this equation was equal to 0. So now I can use my zero product property to solve for x. So x plus 3 is equal to 0. I subtract 3 from both sides, and x is equal to a negative 3. So I can fill that answer in below. Then I'm going to have x plus 6, set that equal to 0. When I subtract 6 and subtract 6, I find that x is equal to a negative 6. That's my second solution, or 0, for this quadratic equation. Moving on to the next one, we have 2x squared minus 3x minus 5. So I'm going to fill in my A term, 2x squared, negative 3x, and my C is negative 5. My A times my C is going to be a negative 10x squared, and my B term is a negative 3x. Now I need to find the factors of negative 10 that add together and give me a negative 3. So I could have a negative 1 and a positive 10, or a negative 10 and a positive 1, or I could have a negative 2 and a positive 5, or a negative 5 and a positive 2. Well, because my B term is negative, I know that my factors are going to be negative 5 and 2. So negative 5x and 2x will be my factors. And I can fill in my area model. So my A term, 2x squared, goes in that top left-hand box. In the bottom right-hand box, I'm going to have negative 5. Then the other two boxes will be the factors that I found, so negative 5x and a positive 2x. Now I can factor. Okay, 2x squared minus 5x, what I have in common is an x. The bottom row, 2x and minus 5, I'm going to have in common just a positive 1. Now I'm going to look at my columns, 2x squared and 2x. I can factor out a 2 and an x. And in the second column, negative 5x and negative 5, I can factor out a negative 5. So my factors for this quadratic equation are x plus 1 and 2x minus 5. Now, because those are set equal to 0, I can use the zero product property rule to split and solve. So x plus 1 is equal to 0. I'm going to add 1 to both sides, and x is equal to 1. I have to, oops, knew I was going to make a mistake. I have to subtract 1 from both sides. Knew that didn't look right. And x is equal to a negative 1. So negative 1 is my first solution. 2x minus 5, I'm going to set that equal to 0. And then I need to solve for x. So I'm going to add 5 to both sides. And I get 2x is equal to 5. And then I'm going to divide by 2 and divide by 2. And x is equal to 5 halves. And you can leave it as an improper fraction. All right. And the third one, to solve by factoring, is 3x squared plus 5x minus 6, but it's equal to a negative 4. And it can't be equal to negative 4 if I'm going to factor. So I have to add 4 to both sides before I can begin. So when I add 4 to both sides, I'm going to get 3x squared plus 5x minus 2, and that will be equal to 0. So now my a term is 3x squared, my b term is a positive 5x, and my c term is a negative 2. My a times my c will be a negative 6x squared, and my b term is a positive 5x. The terms that multiply together to give me negative 6 and add to give me a positive 5 could be negative 1 and 6, negative 6 and 1, negative 2 and a positive 3, or negative 3 and a positive 2. So based on those factors of negative 6, which ones are going to add together to give me a positive 5? Well, that's going to be negative 1 and 6. So I'm going to have a negative x and a positive 6x, and I can use that to fill in my area model. Negative x, positive 6x. Down here, my c term is negative 2, so I can fill that in, and my a term is 3x squared. Now I'm going to factor that top row. 3x squared plus 6x gives, I can factor out a 3x. Negative x minus 2, I can factor out a negative 1. In the first column, 3x squared minus x, I can factor out an x. And in the second column, with positive 6 and a negative 2, I can factor out a positive 2. So my factors here are 3x minus 1 and x plus 2. Now again, this is still equal to 0. So now I'm going to use the zero product property. So 3x minus 1 and set it equal to 0. And I'm going to solve for x. So add 1 and add 1 to both sides. 3x is equal to 1. Then divide by 3, divide by 3. X is equal to 1/3. Then I'm going to do the same thing with x plus 2. I'm going to set it equal to 0. I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. And x is equal to a negative 2. So my two solutions for this quadratic equation are 1/3 and a negative 2. All right, that's it for those 3 questions that I wanted you to solve by factoring. Use the next video if you need to know how to solve by square roots.